and others. This is quite tense. You see there Congresswoman Watson Coleman. I'm not sure, I don't see Robert Menendez Jr. For those watching, that is the son of disgraced former U.S. Senator Bob Menendez. He is a House member there in New Jersey.
Good evening and welcome to the Reaction Radar. Boy, have we got an interesting show today. This one is about Ras Barack, the mayor of Newark, who surprisingly got himself arrested. But it's going to be interesting. The mayor of Newark managed to get himself arrested. And these are the things that the Democrats are doing. They're staging these unnecessary scenarios and situations that they put themselves into. And then they want to cry and yell, oh, things are being done wrong. I'm being singled out. Things are not right. I'm being profiled. You know, but without any further adu, let's get into this.
All right, we are going to continue on with some breaking news that we are following. Let's take you out right now to New Jersey, right outside of a ICE detention center. And this is where a protest with Democrats turned a little bit upside down. And for more on this, I do want to bring in our my colleague Andrew Kraft to break it all down for us, who has been following this story. It even involves an arrest of a New Jersey mayor. Andrew.
Yeah, Mike, there's a lot happening in Newark today, aside from the problems at the airport with yet another radar outage there. We are learning, we're getting a statement in from the Department of Homeland Security, and they say this, that today, as a bus of detainees was entering the security gate of Delaney Hall Detention Center, you see there, Delaney Hall, that's a live picture, DHS says a group of protesters, including 2 members of U.S. Congress, stormed the gate and broke into the detention facility. The members, Robert says a group of protesters, including 2 members of U.S. Congress, stormed the gate and broke into the detention facility.
Wow. So I rewind that so that you can listen to it. 2 members of Congress broke into the facility. Now, folks, you know, this is why they're in an uproar. Oh, is the president going to, you know, weaponize the FBI? Is the police going to be weaponized? Yeah, because look what you're doing. So, of course, you're scared as to what's happening, right? Because that's why you don't want the judge to be penalized, because you're like, oh, well, a judge shouldn't be penalized. Why? They broke the law. No one is above the law. Look at what you're doing. What example are you setting, Congress? And again, even the news are saying this. It's the Democrats, right? But without any further ado, let's get right into it again.
The members, Robert Menendez Jr. and Bonnie Watson Coleman, and multiple protesters are holed up in a guard shack, the first security checkpoint. These members of Congress storming into a detention facility goes beyond bizarre political stunt and puts the safety of our law enforcement agents and the detainees at risk. DHS says members of Congress are not above the law and cannot illegally break into detention facilities. Had these members requested a tour, we would have facilitated a tour of the facility.
And this is America. This is how we do things, especially Congress, right? Like I said, there's no checks and balances for Congress. They're in the wild, wild west. They do whatever they want to do. You know, again, this is America. We're civilized. Right? All you have to do is say, hey, I need to get a tour of this place, or I have questions about it, and it would have been provided to you. But what do? You break into it. You trespass. You put officers' lives in danger.
This is an evolving situation. The allegations by Newark politicians that Delaney does not have the proper permitting is false, they say. We have valid permits, and inspection from plumbing, electricity to fire codes has been clear. That's a statement in from the Department of Homeland Security. So 2 of these New Jersey Democrats from the House, Bonnie Watson Coleman and Robert Menendez Jr., are involved in this, as is, Mike, the Democratic mayor of Newark, New Jersey, Alina Habba, the interim acting U.S. attorney for New Jersey. She tweets this: the mayor of Newark, Ras Barack, committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigations to remove himself from the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey this afternoon. He has willingly chosen to disregard the law That will not stand in this state. He has been taken into custody, all caps, no one is above the law.
Again, once law enforcement shows up, regardless of whatever your stance are on law enforcement or not, if law enforcement shows up and they're like, hey, stand down, take a step back, we need to conduct an investigation, or this is what's going to happen, why wouldn't you just do that? Why? And you're supposed to be the mayor, and you're supposed to be Congress. You're the ones that want to chastise people when they don't follow simple directions, right? But look at what you guys are doing. Does this make any sense? Again, it goes back to do as I say, not as I do. I'm going to do whatever I want to do because I'm Congress. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Haba says. So, Mike, what we have right now confirmed by Acting U.S. Attorney Haba is that the mayor of Newark, New Jersey right now has been taken into custody. Now, what we can't confirm right now, we do not know kind of the status of these two members of Congress, Bonnie Watson Coleman and Robert Menendez Jr. Looks like Congressman Coleman has tweeted this video saying we're at Delaney Hall there. You can see we're taking it full. So this is like DHS says, an evolving situation. Mike, this is of a piece of some of the stories that we have been covering on illegal immigration, on undocumented migration. Mike, you'll remember just now, about 2 Fridays ago there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that federal agents arrested that Milwaukee County judge there for facilitating the kind of release and escape of one of these undocumented migrants. Remember, that was a huge story at the time now there in Milwaukee. This, though, in Newark, New Jersey, unfolding right now. We have a live picture outside the Delaney Hall.
And I don't know if you noticed the clip there, but it says that we, as Congress, have the right to do inspections or something to that nature. But no, you don't. No, you don't. Just being in Congress doesn't give you the right to break the laws, and the laws doesn't apply to you, right? That's like you renting on a room or a house from a landlord. The landlord just can't randomly show up without notifying you that they're going to be showing up, because that's the law. You can't just randomly walk into somewhere unannounced, right? And as for the mayor, that wants to play these little charades and do whatever you want to do, right? While you're doing that, let's see here. As of 2024, violent crimes. Newark had an increase of 9% since 24. Robbery increased by 10%. Aggressive assaults increased by 11%. When you come to property crimes, you have theft increased by 47%. Car burglaries increased by 60%. Other noticeable things here is that, vehicle thefts, like I said, it increased by 60%. So while crime is ramping through your jurisdiction, what are you doing? You're playing, let's go violate the law even more. So, if you can't even control your jurisdiction, seriously, why is it that you think crime is ramping? Because you can't even follow simple directions, sir. You don't even know how to obey the law. Then you get yourself arrested for what? For a publicity stunt? That's like when Maxine Waters and them with Doge show up, they're hindering investigations from going on. That is actually a crime. Hindering an investigation is a crime. In case Congress doesn't know, maybe they should, look that one up. And with this and like what Maxine Waters are doing, hey, nobody's crying insurrection, but you're hindering the government, whether you like them or not, from conducting their investigation. And you're putting law enforcement lives at risk while you're playing these silly games.
ICE detention facility where, from what we're told, there was some type of protest organized by New Jersey Democrats, and it has turned somewhat chaotic there and somewhat hairy. And you see there, this is from what, New Jersey Spotlight News on social media. A new video from the scene. You see some of these HSI agents there.
See, this is where I think that public officials and Congress should be extremely chastised. When you were told to stand down, stop this, right? Not only did you disobey, but look at what you're doing right now. You're causing a commotion for something to incite something else, right? Something else could have broke out. Look how many people are there. Look how many law enforcement are there. And just look at the chaos that you're doing because you refuse to follow a lawful order that was given to you. And if you want to go out on a limb and say, oh, well, laws and this and that, we don't have to obey. Well, maybe you shouldn't be the mayor then. You have to learn to follow orders in order to give the orders. You just can't show up and say, well, do as I say and not as I do. This does not apply to me. Well, clearly doesn't, because, from the statistics, your area is just falling apart. And I wonder why. While you're playing, I have no idea what this is here, but you're playing this part of whatever. Acting, I guess.
It's Homeland Security investigations. I believe there is the mayor of Newark.
Amazing. Look at this.
Baraka, and others. This is quite tense. And you see there Congresswoman Watson Coleman. I'm not sure. I don't see Robert Menendez Jr. For those watching, that is the son of disgraced former U.S. Senator Bob Menendez. He is a House member there in New Jersey, his son Menendez Jr. So this is quite a tense situation, turning somewhat physical. Oh, there's Menendez there. You just saw him try to push off some of these other federal agents outside this DHS detention facility. What a video. Wow.
Yeah, so tense there as they make their way past the gate there and then continue to go in, and you see the security police trying to stop them from getting past that gate.
So, Mike, what is so interesting, we don't know whether or not these members of Congress and the Democratic mayor of Newark, whether they're, advocating on behalf of an individual or kind of the, system writ large. That's unknown right now. We don't know whether or not they are kind of pleading on behalf or advocating on behalf of an individual in the detention facility itself. But it seems like, according from the statement we have from DHS, that they had concerns with some of the conditions, Mike, and the facilities themselves at the holding center.
So, there it is. If you have concern about the facility center, you just don't storm in there, break in, and cause this commotion that you just did, because what have you just proven? Other than, you can't follow simple directions and you want to break the laws and the laws doesn't apply to you. Right? What have you proven there? Absolutely nothing. But, thank you guys for joining in tonight. If you like the program, please hit a like, subscribe, drop me a comment. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this, please. As usual, let's keep this conversation going. And until next time, please stay informed and engaged. Have a good one.